Hey, I want to talk to you about PCOS weight loss diets. And what I'm about to say might make me a little unpopular, but here it goes. The one thing every weight loss diet for PCOS needs is portion control. I've noticed over the years that there's tons of focus on what to eat when you have PCOS. And that is totally important. The quality of your food matters. But if you want to lose weight, you do have to control your portions. It's just basic physics. There are layers of complexity into nutrition that we're not going to get into in this talk. But all that to say, I know those things. I'm not like the world's foremost expert, but I'm pretty familiar with this stuff. Been coaching people to lose weight for a long time, and in particular, women with PCOS. But portion control always matters. It's one of like the kind of like foundational truths we know in nutrition. And so here's what I think comes to mind when I say portion control. You think I'm going to be hungry and I have to keep a food journal or count calories. Now, there's a place for calorie counting, and I would say if it's helping you, great, stick with it. If it's been detrimental, I have a solution for you. But I do want to just bring up one quick fact that on average, a calorie counting app, and you're measuring your own food and recording those calories, has about a 25% margin of error. So if you've been dieting for a while, trying to lose weight, and it looks like on your calorie journal that you should be losing weight, or you're eating too much or too little, whatever the case is, bear that in mind, that there is a huge margin of error, and that's just the way it goes because, we can't scientifically test everything that comes into your mouth and measure it perfectly, and we're all human and we make mistakes on our measurements. Okay, so what's the alternative to calorie counting? Because PCOS portion control is important. And I learned this from the people who taught me how to be a nutrition coach, and that's simply to measure your servings of your food with your hand or relative to your hand. So a palm-sized portion of protein, a fist size of vegetables, because remember, vegetables are really important for hormonal health and for health in general. A palm, like a cupped palm size portion of a high carb food, which would be like roots, sweet potatoes, fruits, intact grains. Those are good places to start. And then about a thumb's worth of fat. So, if that's almond butter, that's probably like my thumb is probably, I don't know, that's less than a tablespoon of almond butter would be about a serving of fat for me. So bear in mind that depending on your hand size, your serving sizes are going to vary. So if you put an NBA and a professional basketball player's hand up next to mine, the serving sizes are going to come out way different, and that's great because we all have different bone structures and body sizes. And this is actually a remarkably accurate way to quickly track how much you're eating and plate a reasonable amount of food for yourself. But that is only level 1 of portion control. So the first step is just simply putting what should be more or less an appropriate amount of food on your plate. The next step, and what I would argue is probably the biggest game-changing switch, is hunger awareness. Now, for various hormonal reasons like insulin resistance, women with PCOS in general have more trouble with cravings and hunger. And there's actually a video, I'll leave the link to it below, of an interview I did with the brilliant Dr. Fiona McCullough about PCOS hunger and how you can work around that if that seems to be if excessive hunger is a problem for you. Okay, but here are the basic steps to hunger awareness. First, you gotta eat undistracted. Don't eat in front of a television. Don't eat playing with your iPhone. Don't eat reading a book. Do not eat while you're working. Come on, take a little lunch break. Do the best you can to eat at a table, sitting down, so that you can actually pay attention to what your body's telling you as you eat. Because when you are distracted, and this has just been proven throughout research studies over and over again, when a person is distracted, they tend to shovel more food in their mouth. And then they realize they're really full instead of satisfied, and they've overeaten again. So, eat undistracted, sit down at a table. Also, you want to be able to see your food, so put it on a plate, put it on a bowl, even if you bought it in a drive-thru, in a bag. get it out and put it on a plate, because there's also a component of visual assessment when you eat. So if you're not seeing your food, you might be underestimating how much you're eating, and you might actually find it like less satisfying while you're eating. Okay, then the next step is to put your fork down in between bites. So instead of being like fork, 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 in, kind of shoveling it in, and I even find myself doing this, like I'm chewing and I'm still loading up my fork with the next bite of food. And that's silly, right? I need to slow down so I have that space in between, my bites to know that I'm getting full. And then the final component of hunger awareness is just to stop before you feel completely full. If you're trying to lose weight, I like I use the expression 80% full, or maybe 2/3 full kind of works for you. But the bottom line is just work towards finishing your meal before you're completely full. And it might be for you, if you struggle with binge eating or excessive hunger, that just stopping when you're full instead of stuffed is a step in the right direction. So that is how you get portion control on track without being connected to a calorie counter for the rest of your life. Portion control is important for PCOS, just along with a lot of other components. It's a bigger picture. So I would love it if you left a comment below about like the clever things you've done for portion control. I've heard some great ideas over the years. Things like I switched to using my child's kitty-sized plates, things like that. I'd love to hear your tips and that you can share with our community. And again, if you struggle with excessive hunger and you want some more in-depth information on that, I would encourage you to click below in the description where the link is to that video with my interview with Dr. McCullough. Okay, so go forth and eat 80% to 80% full. Yay, you'll love it, I promise.